close your eyes for a moment and imagine a mind that is no longer shaken by fear of tomorrow. A mind that does not tremble when money is low, nor becomes restless when needs increase. In such a mind, peace is not dependent on wealth. It is the foundation from which true wealth begins to grow. There is an ancient practice known in quiet traditions, a simple salt ritual, not meant as superstition, but as a symbol of cleansing the inner world where financial worry is born. For most people, money worry does not begin in the wallet. It begins in thought. It begins in the silent repetition of "I don't have enough." What will happen next? I am falling behind. These thoughts, repeated often, become heavier than any burden in the hand. They cloud judgment, disturb sleep, and block opportunity, not because money disappears, but because clarity disappears. The salt ritual begins with something humble. A small bowl of clean water and a pinch of salt. Salt has always been a symbol of purification. Water represents flow. Together, they remind the mind that life is not fixed, but constantly changing. In stillness, one holds the bowl and places intention into it, not desire for sudden wealth, but release of fear. The salt is gently stirred, and as it dissolves, it becomes unseen within the water. This is the teaching. Just as salt disappears, so too can worry dissolve when it is fully understood and not resisted. Money worries begin in the mind. Financial stress often starts with fearful and negative thoughts rather than actual lack of money, making mental clarity essential for overcoming worry. Many people believe that money worries come only from an empty wallet, unpaid bills, or financial challenges. Yet, if we look closely, we discover that much of our suffering begins long before any actual problem appears. It starts in the mind. A single fearful thought can grow into a chain of worries about the future. One concern becomes 10 concerns, and soon the mind is filled with anxiety, doubt, and endless questions. Thoughts such as, "I will never have enough," "Things will only get worse," or "I cannot succeed," create a heavy burden that affects every part of life. When the mind becomes trapped in fear, it loses the ability to see clearly. Opportunities that could improve a situation are overlooked. Good decisions become difficult because worry clouds judgment. A person may spend more time imagining problems than finding solutions. This creates a cycle where fear feeds more fear, and stress grows even when circumstances have not changed. The salt ritual symbolizes cleansing. Together, they serve as a reminder to let go of fear, anxiety, and limiting beliefs about money. The salt ritual is often described as a symbolic practice that reminds the mind of purification and release. Salt, in its natural form, has long been associated with cleansing and preservation, while water represents flow, adaptability, and the continuous movement of life. When these two elements are brought together in stillness, they become a simple reflection of how inner transformation can take place. The act itself is not about changing external circumstances instantly, but about creating a moment where attention turns inward. When salt is stirred into water, it dissolves completely and becomes invisible. This disappearance is meaningful because it mirrors how fear and anxiety can lose their form when they are fully observed and understood. Many financial worries feel solid and permanent when we are inside them, yet they are actually made of thoughts, not physical reality. Through mindful reflection, these thoughts can soften and lose their intensity. True prosperity comes from inner calm. A peaceful and focused mind makes better decisions, recognizes opportunities, and responds wisely to financial challenges. True prosperity is often misunderstood as something that comes only from external gain. But in reality, it is deeply connected to the state of the mind. When awareness is calm and steady, even small resources can feel sufficient, and even difficult situations become manageable. However, when the mind is disturbed, even abundance feels like scarcity because fear distorts perception. This is why inner discipline is considered more valuable than constant external pursuit. A calm mind does not mean a passive life. It means a clear one. When emotional noise settles, a person can observe situations as they truly are, rather than as fear imagines them to be. In financial life, this clarity is essential. It allows better planning, wiser spending, and more thoughtful decision-making. Letting go creates space for growth. Pouring away the salt water symbolizes releasing attachment to fear and scarcity, allowing a more positive and productive mindset to emerge. Letting go. Letting go is one of the most difficult, yet most powerful inner practices. When dealing with financial worry, people often hold tightly to fear, replaying worst-case scenarios again and again in the mind, believing that this constant thinking will somehow prevent problems. In reality, it only strengthens anxiety and drains mental energy that could be used for constructive action. The act of letting go does not mean ignoring responsibility. It means releasing the emotional weight attached to uncertainty. When the mind releases excessive attachment to outcomes, it becomes lighter and more flexible. Just as a clenched hand cannot easily grasp something new, a mind filled with tension cannot easily recognize fresh possibility. In moments of financial stress, this release creates space for new thinking patterns to emerge. Instead of being locked into panic, one becomes open to adjustment, learning, and practical response. Consistent awareness leads to financial stability. Real change comes from mindful actions, disciplined spending, steady effort, and clear thinking, not from magical solutions or instant wealth. Consistent awareness is what ultimately transforms financial worry into steady progress, while symbolic practices and moments of reflection can help calm the mind. Lasting change comes from how a person lives each day. Awareness means noticing thoughts before they become habits, and habits before they shape outcomes. When a person becomes mindful of how often fear-based thinking appears, they gain the ability to interrupt it and choose a more constructive response. This awareness naturally extends into everyday financial behavior. Spending becomes more intentional instead of impulsive. Planning becomes clearer because it is not driven by panic, but by understanding. Work becomes more focused because energy is not wasted on imaginary future problems. Even small decisions begin to reflect stability rather than stress. Over time, this creates a strong foundation. Financial stability is rarely the result of one major action. It is built through repeated small choices, made with clarity. Each moment of awareness strengthens discipline, and each disciplined action reduces unnecessary loss and confusion. As this pattern continues, the mind gradually shifts from reaction to reflection. Instead of asking, "What if things go wrong?" it begins to ask, "What is the best step I can take now?" This simple change in thinking is powerful. It turns anxiety into direction and worry into progress. In this way, consistent awareness becomes the quiet force that supports both inner peace and outer stability in financial life.